I think for me over time, what's been really awesome is that my purpose from a personal perspective and from a work perspective has really aligned.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and that purpose is really to be a connector.
Mm-hmm.
So a connector and a facilitator of relationships, which can add value to whether it's people or organisations over time.
My guest today is Imelda Alexopoulos, a partner at PwC, where she leads PwC's financial advisory practice, future industries and social impact focus in South Australia.
The purpose of the business is to help innovative startups and scale-ups to grow, so to make a positive difference to society and ultimately contribute to the local, national and global economy.
With 12 years' experience in professional services, Imelda is passionate about working with organisations to identify opportunities to utilise technology to create efficiencies and help emerging businesses to scale and accelerate their growth.
My view is that without startups, we don't have a complete ecosystem. So if you think about any business, it started somewhere. So you don't become this big business that can employ lots of people and add value to the local economy without having started somewhere. So that's why I think we need to foster startups. I think what's really exciting about what we've got in South Australia is just the environment itself and the ecosystem that has been building for some time now. But I think it's really at a critical point of becoming something really, really special and, being really successful.
Her clients range from startups and small to medium enterprises to large public companies, multinational and not-for-profit organisations across a very wide range of industries, including agriculture, biotechnology, creative, defence, energy, engineering, financial services, health, manufacturing, medical, mining, renewables, retail and consumer, software, technology and utilities. In addition to this, Imelda also leads the Incentives and Innovation business in South Australia, where she has successfully assisted many organisations to access various federal and state government incentive grant programs, in addition to advising companies in the event of a review or audit activity by the relevant program regulators. I'm so excited to have Imelda on the podcast today.
Hi, my name is Imelda Alexopoulos. I am a partner at PwC. Please join us on the Accountants on Purpose podcast.
Hi, I'm Sarah Bartholomews from YouLegal. The Accountants on Purpose podcast showcases inspiring accountants who are leaders in their field.
And then it just came to me like a bolt of blue.
What makes them tick?
Love it.
How did they get to where they are? I want to inspire. And what do they do now for their teams, their clients, and the world? Do you have a hobby?
I do, kind of. And I say kind of because I used to do this a lot more and I probably don't do it as much as I used to. So I love to sing and I used to sing a lot as a child and at university, and I'm actually a mezzo-soprano, so I used to sing at, Christmas time I'd go and sing at aged care facilities and that sort of thing. I did a lot of musicals at university. So, that's and now I still do it, but mostly at home and singing to my children.
In the shower?
Yep, in the car.
Yes.
Yep.
Singing's good for your well-being.
Absolutely. So I completely agree. And it's really interesting, I think, just in terms of what it can do to change people's moods. And I find that with my children. So if, they're having a meltdown, I'll turn on some music and it can completely change the way they're feeling. And, we get positive outcome from that.
Magic. What are your best and worst habits?
Yeah, so if I think about my worst habits, so let's start with them. I use way too much toilet paper.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember my mum giving me similar feedback as a kid.
Yeah. So my husband has to go to Costco to buy them giant-sized packets of toilet paper and probably coffee. I'm actually allergic to it.
Yes,
so,
but you still drink it?
Yes, sometimes. So my recent stint, I had 4 months off.
Yes.
Which was great. So I get a rash if I drink coffee.
Oh,
really,
my goodness.
Yeah.
That is not good.
Yeah, so it's quite a visual thing. So I've been, and it only started happening after I had my second child.
Yes.
And I tried everything. So stop dairy, stop gluten.
Yep.
I tried all sorts of things. I had allergy tests. I went to dermatologists, went to everything, and no one could work out.
Figure it
No.
out.
And then I thought, well, what's the one thing I haven't stopped?
That I have every day.
Yeah. And I stopped coffee. And after 2 months, the rash went away. And I stopped for 8 months in total. And then I thought,
Maybe
things
I
are
can
going
try
on.
it.
Yeah. And within a couple of weeks of starting to drink it again, the rash came back.
Oh, my
Yeah,
goodness.
but it came back on my back. So originally it was on my legs, which
No one can see it on your back.
No. And I thought, it's not so bad. But my husband said to me, you need to stop. Like, I can see it, and it's your body
Does
telling
it
me.
hurt?
It's just really, really itchy.
Itchy.
Yeah. So it's itchy, and obviously it's my body telling me.
Please don't consume
this
this poison.
So yeah. So I have, I have this kind of love-hate relationship with coffee.
I have that with wine.
Okay.
I don't think it's great for me, but I don't want to miss out. I went through a year where I didn't have it, didn't have any alcohol.
Whole year.
And there's really only one occasion where I really felt really left out when I was at Cafe Sydney, which is a gorgeous cafe that overlooks the Harbour Bridge, and my friends were having a degustation with matched wines, and I didn't have it. I had a mocktail, and I felt so left out. But other than that, I was fine. And there's so much social pressure to drink alcohol. And now I'm okay to go to an event and just be like, I'm just having sparkling water.
And I think that's the thing. It's way more acceptable now as well. And really, if you're going to an event, does it matter what you're drinking?
Else? I know.
No, not at all.
But I think there's also social pressure to drink coffee.
Yeah, I did feel that a little bit. So, when I first started saying, I'll have a tea or I'll have a sparkling water or, and people be like, oh, you don't drink coffee? And, and I feel like I constantly have to
there's something wrong
explain
with
it
me.
to
I can't
people.
have coffee.
I know, and no one believes me, but I've actually, and it is rare. So I've spoken to a allergy specialist that worked at a university, and he said, I've never come across someone who actually has an allergy from ingesting it, and that presents in the way that you do. He said, I've heard of people who get it from the smell of coffee, so they might
really?
So there's, but not in the way.
Wow.
So
that's unfortunate.
No, but it's good that I know.
Name something that happened in the last 90 days that you're the most proud of.
So I recently did the AICD course.
Yes.
And
the CDC. Company Directors course.
That's right. So the Australian Institute of Company Directors course. And just this week, actually, I was told, I was able to look up the website and I've passed the assessment.
Congratulations.
Yeah, which is fantastic. And I thought, I guess I'm just really proud of having achieved that whilst being so busy.
Yeah.
Just from it's been a really busy time from a personal and both a work perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably didn't realise how much work was going to be involved when I signed up to do it. I've been wanting to do it for a really long time, and there's always been, an excuse of I need time to prepare and I'll need time to do the assessment.
You do. You need about 40 hours for the pre-reading.
Yeah.
It's massive.
Yeah. So, and I thought if I don't sign up, I'm just never going to get it done. And, I've recently taken up a board role in the last couple of years. So I thought it was really important for me to do the course. So really excited that I've finished all the assessment, I passed.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
and now
you.
you're GAICD.
Yes.
Yay.
Yeah.
So tell me about the board you're on.
So I'm on the board of State Opera of South Australia.
Yes.
Which has been a fantastic experience. I've been on the board for about a year and a half now.
Yeah.
And it lines up really nicely with my passion for singing.
It's wonderful. And I think it's wonderful to have younger people on the opera board as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's been a really great experience working with other more experienced board members.
Directors, yes.
Yeah, but being able to have an impact on, the arts and what we're actually providing to the state in terms of that particular art form. And not just the state. I think if you think about nationally and globally, it really is a leading edge organisation in terms of opera. So, yeah, it's been a fantastic experience. And, if you haven't already, you need to go see The Mikado and Madame Butterfly.
I will sign up. You've got a degree in biomedical science. How did that lead you to becoming a partner at PwC?
So that's actually a really interesting question, because it's probably the most common question that I get from people. They're always like, what's a person with a biomedical science degree doing at a place like PwC?
Yeah.
So I absolutely loved my degree, and that's the reason why I did it. And I think it's kind of the way I tend to approach things. I think if you really enjoy something and you love learning about it, then you'll be really good at it.
Yeah.
And I figured, well, if I love what I'm doing and I'm really good at it, then surely I can find a job doing it. But as it turns out, when I finished uni, I couldn't find a job with my biomedical science degree. And I was quite happy to start right at the bottom. I just wanted experience. And I approached a lot of different organisations, saying I'd love to, start at the bottom. And I was basically told, you're either overqualified or you will get bored really quickly and you should, look at a different career. So that, I think, was a bit of a shock for me. And I kind of thought, because I worked all through uni. I had, up to 3 jobs at any one time. I worked at restaurants, I worked in retail, I worked at dry cleaners. At one point I was even a smoothie artist,
Smoothie artist?
Yeah, which is just a fancy name for making smoothies. So, and I think I always thought to myself, that whole time I should have actually been trying to work towards a job, after university. So,
like, why didn't I do a profession where there's like clear steps?
Yeah, or get an internship. But that wasn't really something you could do. So, I did do volunteer work at the local hospital, and so I tried to do things that were relevant to it. But so I decided then, well, I'll continue to do some study, because I do get bored really easily, and obviously people could see that when I was talking to them.
Yes.
So I started doing a human movement science degree, and at the same time I worked at a bank. So I worked part-time, and I did that bit decided to work at a bank because I could study at night, with their hours. And within 2.5 years, I worked my way from being a bank teller to being the assistant branch manager at the busiest branch in Australia for that particular bank. And I thought, well, I can absolutely make a career here. And I really, really loved
working there.
Yeah. So I got put on a pathway leadership program, and I thought, well,
this is it.
But I think there was always something in the back of my mind, like niggling me around, you've done all this work, you've done all this study, you really love the degree, and you're not using it. But that kind of just sat there, So, and then one day I did a mortgage for a man. So he came into the bank, a mortgage sign-up, and he picked up my business card, and I had my degree on my business card. And he said, he had this really bizarre look on his face, and he said, what is someone like you with a biomedical science degree doing working in a bank? So very similar to the question you posed earlier. And I told him the story, and he said, at PwC, we're always looking for people like you. And I thought to myself, what is PwC?
Oh, really?
I had no idea. Had never heard of them. So he said, come and have coffee with myself and a director at the firm. And I said, look, I'll have a think about it. Thank you very much. And I went home, I asked all my friends and my family. As it turns out, my husband was an accountant, so he knew all about them.
Andy.
Yeah, and I did some research, and one of the first things I did was look at the values of the firm.
Yes.
And they really resonated with me. So I thought, there's no harm in having a coffee.
Yeah.
I was really happy in my current role. But, had the coffee, basically got offered a role on the spot.
Wow.
And haven't looked back.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like such a twist of fate, isn't it?
Yeah.
That meeting.
Yeah. And I think that question, around what someone with that sort of background doing at a firm like PwC, even though it's common, it's becoming less common, because I think people are realising that organisations and PwC recognise this really early, that it's really important to have diversity of backgrounds and experience to be able to provide the very best, in terms of service to our clients. So, yeah. So I worked my way up. Again, I kind of started at the firm and thought to myself, I set myself a goal. I want to be a partner within 10 years.
Yes.
So I did that within 7 years and 8 months.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Yeah. With 2 children, during that time.
Hanging around.
I did. So I got promoted to senior manager when I was 7 months pregnant with my first child. I got promoted to director when I was 7 months pregnant with my second child. So it was just...
Imagine what might happen if you have a third. Sky's the limit.
That's not going to happen. So.
That's done. Too.
That's done.
Your family's complete.
Yes, they are. It is.
Being a partner at PwC, you lead the new national business Align and Connect. What is the purpose of that business unit?
I have recently co-founded a business called PwC's Business Align and Connect with 2 other partners. And yes, it is a national business. So the purpose of the business is to help innovative startups and scale-ups to grow, so to make a positive difference to society and ultimately contribute to the local, national and global economy. So we do this by using the amazing experience we have within the firm, but in a structured manner.
So you've got a pre-arranged structure.
We do, but it's also super flexible because...
So when people need different things, you can
not
bring...
one size fits all.
Yeah.
And so it's really bespoke, but we've had amazing results so far and we're in such early days.
Yeah.
I know. I can't wait to share more.
Yeah, and it fits perfectly with Accountants on Purpose as well, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's really purpose-driven.
It's aligned.
It's meant to be. You're pretty passionate about the startup community here in South Australia and the opportunities that can bring to the state. Why do you think we need to foster the growth of startups?
My view is that without startups, we don't have a complete ecosystem. So if you think about any business, it started somewhere. So you don't become this big business that can employ lots of people and add value to the local economy without having started somewhere. So that's why I think we need to foster startups. I think what's really exciting about what we've got in South Australia is just the environment itself and the ecosystem that has been building for some time now. But I think it's really at a critical point of becoming something really, really special and, being really successful for the current companies that are in that ecosystem. And why do I say that? I think in my experience, I've lived in both smaller cities and towns, and I've also lived in much larger ones. And I just feel in terms of the size and the support that we have here, that it's almost like the perfect environment.
Pot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, if you think about competition and that sort of thing, like that's really fierce in the larger states and cities. So you have... my view is you have more opportunity here.
For collaboration and partnership.
Absolutely.
What's the most risky decision you've ever made in your life?
So I think definitely taking the job at PwC. And that's really because, at the time I could see a long-term career at the bank. I was on a pathway to leadership program, really, really enjoyed that as well. And I thought I have no idea what the future might hold at PwC, but I was willing to take that risk. And I think that's how I approach things now. I kind of go, well, if it feels uncomfortable, then it's probably the right decision.
Yeah.
Right. So I think, if you don't take big risks, then you're going to lose out on potential big returns as well.
One of the things that confuses me about that is that you can feel uncomfortableness because you're out of your comfort zone and it's going to be an amazing opportunity for growth. But I don't know how personally to distinguish that from the uncomfortable feeling that is a warning.
Yeah. So I think I agree with you.
I don't know what the answer is to that.
It's kind of... So I think, and this is the way I approach it, so if it's uncomfortable, then there's something there that I need to explore.
Yeah.
But I also think that you need to ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen, right? So from a warning perspective, what is the worst that can happen? And what are the consequences if I don't do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have accounting qualifications.
I do.
At what point did they come into your career journey? Was that after you moved to PwC?
Yes, yeah. So I decided that even though, it wasn't necessary in terms of the work that I did, that it would still be a good idea, to understand a lot of the basics and the foundations. So I did a graduate certificate of Chartered Accounting Foundations, through Deakin Uni while I was working.
Would have made the financial part of the AICD course easier.
Yes.
That was the biggest challenge for me doing that course.
Yeah, and I think it was really interesting in terms of everyone in the room just assumed, and that because I'm at PwC, then I must be an accountant. Sometimes they assume that you're an auditor if you're at PwC. That's probably what traditionally we're well known for. And so they all kind of looked to me whenever there was some finance questions.
And you looked away.
There was a CFO in the room, so I was like,
let's deflect.
Yeah. What do you think about this?
That's a good way to do it. What is your purpose?
I think the purpose question is really interesting because I think it changes, or it can change for people depending on where they are in terms of, their journey through life.
Definitely.
And I think for me over time, what's been really awesome is that my purpose from a personal perspective and from a work perspective has really aligned. And so, and that purpose is really to be a connector. So a connector and a facilitator of relationships, which can add value to whether it's people or organisations over time.
Perfect. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that I should have?
No.
What would you say to 18-year-old Imelda?
I think what I would say to 18-year-old Imelda is that you're going to be okay. So I lost my mum when I was 23 and I lost my dad when I was 25 and I was an only child. So I think that what I'm really, really grateful for is that I never took my parents for granted. And we had, I had the most amazing childhood and a fantastic relationship with my parents. And I think probably at 23, I would have said to myself, you're going to be okay. And completely blessed for, having had them for as long as I had them as my parents.
Oh, making myself cry.
Well, you were just telling me, when you were just telling
Podcast gold.
You were just telling me how you're doing this hike with your mum for your 70th birthday, and I'm quite jealous of that. I would, to be able to do something like that would be amazing. So I think it's a fantastic. It'll be a fantastic experience.
Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
We're going to keep this conversation going in our private Facebook group, Accountants on Purpose. You're welcome to join us there.